Ridiculous Isekai took over 2025, and I watched way too many of them. Today I'm ranking the 6 most unhinged, overpowered, brain-melting Isekai anime that made me laugh, rage, and keep watching anyway regardless, somehow. Booming off with number 6. I was reincarnated as the 7th prince, so I can take my time perfecting my magical ability. This anime is what happens when restraint gets isekai'd and never comes back. The premise alone sounds calm, but almost wholesome. Then you hit play and realize the main character is a walking magical war crime. As the 7th prince, he's technically irrelevant politically, which means 0 responsibilities and unlimited time to break the magic system. And boy, does he break it. This kid doesn't train like normal protagonists. He dissects spells like a mad scientist with a sugar rush. Every fight feels less like a battle and more like a flex disguised as research. The villains pull up confident, talking spicy, and 5 seconds later, they're getting folded into abstract art. What makes it ridiculous is the tone shift. One moment it's cute, chibi faces and playful banter. The next, it's borderline horrifying levels of power. The animation leans into that contrast hard, almost daring you to question why a literal child is summoning magic circles bigger than buildings. It's not perfect, though. Sometimes the pacing feels like it's sprinting past character development just to show off another spell combo. But honestly, that's part of the charm. You're not here for emotional depth. You're here to watch a magical prodigy treat the laws of fantasy like optional DLC, and somehow it stays entertaining the entire time. This is Emiverse Anime. Watch this video to the end and hit that subscribe button now. Sliding to number 5. Monster. Monster is unapologetically savage, and it knows it. Our protagonist wakes up as a goblin, which already sets expectations low, then immediately starts speedrunning evolution like it's a competitive game mode. This anime doesn't ask, is this moral? It asks, what if power scaling had no breaks? Every episode is just him eating enemies, absorbing abilities, and turning into something even more terrifying. It's edgy, messy, and occasionally uncomfortable, especially with how casually it handles darker themes. But ridiculous? Absolutely. The man goes from weakest monster to squad-leading menace in record time, and the world just has to cope. What keeps it watchable is how committed it is to its own chaos. There's no fake humility here. He knows he's busted, and the show leans into that confidence hard. The side characters mostly exist to react in shock, fear, or loyalty, which honestly fits the vibe. The pacing is aggressive, sometimes to a fault, because emotional beats barely get time to breathe. Still, when the battles hit, they hit. You'll roll your eyes, laugh, and then realize you're already queuing the next episode. It's not a comfort watch, and it's definitely not subtle, but if you want an isekai that feels like raw power fantasy with 0 apologies, Monster delivers exactly that. Landing on number 4, The New Gate. The New Gate feels like that one MMORPG veteran who logged out years ago, came back, and realized the game world moved on without him. The twist is, he's still ridiculously overpowered. This anime thrives on that disconnect. Everyone else is struggling with monsters and politics, while the protagonist is casually clearing content that should be endgame nightmares. What makes it ridiculous isn't just the strength, but how normal he treats it. No dramatic speeches, no screaming power-ups, just calm efficiency. It's almost disrespectful. The world building is surprisingly solid, giving the fantasy setting actual weight, which makes his dominance even funnier. Villains hype themselves up, alliances form, tension builds, and then he shows up and deletes the problem. That said, the anime sometimes plays it too safe. You can predict outcomes a bit too easily, and some side characters feel undercooked, but the vibe carries it. There's a quiet confidence here that separates it from louder isekai. It's less, look how strong I am, and more, I solved this years ago. If you've ever played a game so long you forgot early levels were supposed to be hard, this anime will speak to your soul. And trust me, number 3, it'll mess with your head in the best way possible. Looking at number 3, Chillin'. In another world with level 2 super cheat powers. This anime is deception in its purest form. It sells you relaxation, peace, and slice-of-life vibes, then casually drops cheat abilities that would end most fantasy wars in a weekend. The main character just wants a calm life, but the universe keeps handing him god-tier power like it's a loyalty reward. The ridiculous part is how low stress everything feels despite the insanity. Threats appear, tension builds slightly, then gets dissolved by overwhelming strength paired with wholesome energy. It's almost disrespectfully chill. The romance subplot adds to the absurdity, being oddly sweet while surrounded by absurd power scaling. Visually, it doesn't go crazy, but it doesn't need to. The appeal is the contrast between world-ending potential and cozy vibes. Sometimes it leans too hard into comfort, making certain episodes feel repetitive. But that's also why people keep watching. It's the anime equivalent of turning your brain to airplane mode. You know nothing bad is sticking, and that's comforting. It's ridiculous not because it's loud, but because it refuses to care. And in a genre full of screaming protagonists, that calm confidence feels oddly refreshing. Almost at the top with number 2, Tsukimichi, Moonlit Fantasy Season 2. Tsukimichi Season 2 doubles down on everything that made the first season fun and cranks the chaos higher. Makoto is still absurdly strong, still socially awkward, and still surrounded by allies who could solo other anime universes. The goddess remains hilariously petty, and the world continues to underestimate him at its own risk. What makes this season ridiculous is the scale. The fights are bigger, the politics messier, and Makoto's presence warps every situation just by existing. The comedy lands harder because the show understands its characters now. Timing is sharper, reactions are funnier, and the power flexes feel earned. There are moments where it drags slightly with exposition, but when it hits, it really hits. Watching enemies realize they messed up never gets old. Tsukimichi thrives on balance, action, comedy, and just enough world building to make the dominance satisfying. It's one of those sequels that proves the concept wasn't a fluke. If Season 1 hooked you, Season 2 keeps you locked in and smiling. Finally, taking the crown at number 1, The Wrong Way to Use Healing Magic. This anime wins because it flips expectations and then suplexes them. Healing magic is supposed to be passive, supportive, background noise. Not here. Our protagonist trains healing like it's a combat art, pushing his body past sane limits because healing lets him survive it. The result is a main character who's technically a healer but fights like an unkillable berserker. It's ridiculous in the best way. Every training arc feels illegal. Every fight feels unfair. The mentor is unhinged, the training methods are borderline criminal, and the payoff is glorious. What really sells it is the humor. The show knows exactly how stupid the concept sounds and leans into it with confidence. Yet it still builds tension and growth. You actually care about the struggle, even while laughing at how broken the logic is. The animation delivers when it counts, and the pacing stays tight. By the end, you're fully convinced healing magic might be the scariest ability in Isekai. And honestly, I wouldn't have it any other way. So yeah, 2025 gave us ridiculous Isekai in every flavor, from chill chaos to absolute madness. Let me know which one broke your brain the most, or what I missed. Drop a like if you enjoyed, subscribe for more anime chaos, and I'll catch you in the next one.